Hey guys, I hope this is going live, and because I'm using the new Live Pro on Facebook. So I'm talking and it's spinning. So hopefully this is actually working. Okay, here we go. Um, Hi, happy Thursday, or whatever day you're watching this video. I have spoken to a few people recently that have set themselves up for failure in so many different ways. And I'd love to be able to stop that. So, what I'm going to do today is give you a couple of examples of how people set themselves up for failure, but then how you can actually turn that around. So, setting yourself up for failure is a form of self-sabotage, and I am the queen of all things self-sabotage. So I feel uniquely able to share with you guys different ways that I've been able to overcome that, because it's no fun to feel like a failure. And the more you feel like that, the more comfortable you get with feeling like that, and the more your brain then looks for more opportunities and more proof to keep you in that frame of mind, which absolutely 0% of people should want. So I'll give you one really quick example. And this is from someone I was talking to who, for many, 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 many years, was trying to get up at 7 o'clock in the morning. And yet, for same many, many, many years, found herself waking up at 7:45. So wanted to get up at 7, consistently found herself getting out of bed at 7:45. Now the problem with that is that before she'd even started the day, she was already feeling like she was behind the eight ball, right? That there was something wrong, and you feel bad, not even getting out of bed. So how many times have you woken up and maybe you've hit snooze a couple of times, or maybe you slept through your alarm, or maybe there's something else going on. First thing, before your feet hit the floor, you're already feeling that something is wrong. You've done it again. You've missed it again. You're not part of the 5 a.m. club, and somehow that's bad. So there's very, very simple ways of turning that around. But the first step is to recognize that you're doing it to yourself in the first place. So I want you to think of something you're doing right now that maybe you always feel bad about, you talk to yourself in a negative way, or whatever. And here's the simple fix that we found for the 7 a.m. Challenge, if you want to call it that. And I said, set your alarm for 8. Because if you're going to get up at 7:45 anyway, if you set your goal for 8, you're actually 15 minutes early, which means winner, winner, chicken dinner, right? Everybody feels good, and you start your day feeling already like you're a success. And that tiny little switch, that tiny little change in the way that you think about yourself, going through the simplest of tiny situations. We're talking about like getting out of bed in the morning, right? Some people really struggle with that. And sometimes, especially if you start your day that way, it's really, really difficult for you to feel successful the rest of your day. The same case is going to bed at night, right? So if you are not getting enough sleep and you perpetually push back going to bed, going to bed, going to bed, you have to ask yourself, what is making you push back that bedtime? What is contributing to you always going to bed late, which usually means you get up feeling a little groggy the next day? And I was a totally different person I was working with, and that was the problem. We thought, well, maybe it's let's work at going to bed at night. Maybe that's where the problem is. But through discussions, what actually came out was that this wonderful, amazing human being had kind of lost the purpose to what she was doing stuff for. And because there was no purpose, because there was no sense that the work that she was doing mattered, then she didn't want to get up in the morning, and then she didn't want to go to bed at night. Because when you think about it, and how many times have we all done this, where we push back that bedtime with some sort of false belief that if we don't go to bed, then tomorrow actually doesn't happen. And if we can push how late we sleep in the next day, then there's less of our day that we need to face. And maybe that makes it a little bit better. And a lot of people who experience traumas, big T, small t traumas, they go through that. And so again, with that particular situation, we worked not on the bedtime, not on the time she set her alarm in the morning. We worked on, let's bring that connection back together with what you do and the solutions you provide to people, and how awesome you make people feel because you're a part of their life. So feeling like a failure can come from so many different angles. And if you look in your day, like I look in my day every day, and I'm better now than I used to be. But when I first started going through this, and I would hear myself say, "Oh, you're so stupid." How many times do you say that? How many times do you apologize? "Oh, I'm so sorry. I'm so sorry." You're not sorry. Say I haven't done anything. It's not your fault. And yet we apologize. And in apologizing, we diminish ourselves. And so that again breeds a sense of failure, because if you diminish yourself, that means you're not good enough or you're not enough of something. And so the more you do that, the more your brain will find other ways of reminding you about that. And now it compounds. And the longer it takes for you the longer you spend in that way, the harder it is to pull yourself out of it. Not impossible. If I can pull myself out of my negative belief systems and out of my self-sabotage, gosh, I wrote a book on this thing. So if I can do it, I know anybody else can do this. But it's a matter of first twigging in on what are the kind of things that you're doing that are cutting yourself off at the knees. The other one that I also use as an example is when people and the entrepreneurs are really, really guilty of this, where you try to do a billion things. So you're doing one thing and then you kind of wander off and you do something else. And then you wander off and you do something else and you're trying 1,000 things, but you're actually not seeing things through. You're not getting results you want. And in the end, you feel really, really spent, both financially and emotionally, and you really haven't moved ahead. So what do you do there? Really, really, really simple solution for that. You narrow it into hopefully the one, maybe two things that if you did those things consistently, whether it's daily or weekly, whatever frequency you need to deliver the results you want, and you only do that thing, that's where you're going to find that you have focus, you have intentionality with your time. So you're not scattered and you're not just kind of what I call smooshing through the day, not really getting anything done. And you actually get the results you want. So it's in the scatter that nothing moves forward. But in the focus and in being intentional with your time and not being distracted by your phone, by email, by the television, by other people, by closing all the doors and saying, this is what I'm going to do, because I know if I do this thing consistently, right? If I get this in front of more people, or if I do this more often, I know that that's going to generate results. Like for me, it's training. It's videos like this. The more I do videos like this, the more I do training and workshops and podcasts and stuff like that, the more people will, when I ask for it, will come and say, you know what, I do want to talk to you. I am ready to change. I no longer want to be where I am anymore. If that is you, you can go to my website, rebeccamountain.ca/strategy. I'll put it in the comments when I'm done. Actually, I can do it right now. Isn't this cool? So www.rebeccamountain.ca/strategy. You can click that button. Make sure I got it spelled properly. So you guys can go there at any point in time and you can schedule a call. This is an absolutely 100% free call. And I do it because sometimes you don't know what you need to do to move ahead. And so what we do is there's questions you answer before this call so that I get more information. And then we actually look at what are your patterns? And I listen for those patterns. I listen to what you say because it's important. I'm not a therapist because, that's way above my pay grade. And that is what brought you to today. What I'm interested in is what's going to get you to the next level, wherever that next level will be. What are your sabotaging habits and how do we turn those around? So for me, the more often I do those workshops and training, the more my list grows. And as my list grows and I provide content, and when when it's the appropriate moment, I'm like, hey, do you guys want this? Come on in, schedule a call or join some of my programs. I've got some new courses that are coming out, and that's how I grow my business. Your growth strategy could be very, very different. The important thing is you have to do the math. What brings in business? How do I do more of that thing? How do I avoid distractions? How do I focus only on the things that come to me naturally that I can do over and over and over again without running out of steam? Because that's how you build a thriving business. You don't build a thriving business by nose to the grindstone. If you think you're going to get where you want by working psychotically hard, you're going to go drive yourself into the ground and you're going to burn out. It's no fun. I have been there and it is not a nice feeling. And so instead, if you say, okay, what are the things that bring me joy? What are the things that I love to do that actually produce results? And don't worry about what anyone else is doing. It doesn't matter. They're not putting money in your pocket. Worry about what you need to do, what comes naturally to you, what you can do over and over and over again, and that generates profitable results. And it sounds really, really simple because it is that simple. So I hope you guys have found a few things interesting today. Again, if you do want to stop, if cycles of self-sabotage, if you've been sitting in that moment of wondering why you can't get any further, by all means, if you look in the comments, I've already posted it there. There's a place for you to actually start sorting that out. And whether you work with me or not, I don't care. If you decide that it's something you want to do and you want to accelerate your ability to get out of where you're at and into the life you want, and if that resonates with you, super. I send you a video ahead of time so that you don't listen to me pitch at you, because who wants that? So you know what I do long before the call happens, and then it's up to you. So RebeccaMountain.ca/strategy. Everyone is welcome. Not being a failure is a choice. Not being a failure is being aware of the sabotaging cycles we create for ourselves, deciding we no longer want to accept that as our reality, and then moving on. So, happy Thursday. Happy not being a failure Thursday. And work on something today and just see. Even if it's something like stop apologizing. You're not actually sorry, right? And that's just such a Canadian thing. Stop calling yourself stupid. Stop pulling yourself down. Stop thinking you're not enough. Stop comparing yourself to others. Just stop one of those things. I'm sure every listener is doing one of those things. So just pick one and just say, for 24 hours, I'm not going to do that. I'm not going to say that, and see how much better you feel. Have a great day, guys.